Now from the Weather Tracker TV Storm Studios, this is your weather today. Here's Chief Meteorologist William Cole.
All right, well, happy Wednesday, everybody. Here we go now, pushing right on through our work week. And we had another weather speed bump out the door this morning. We had some more of this dense fog around the area, cool, gray, damp starts of the morning. And really, as we progress through the day, we have a boundary very similar to yesterday. It's going to be draped across North Texas. The northern sides of the boundary, it's going to be cooler. The southern sides of the boundary, it's going to be sharply milder. So it depends on where you're going to be, where you live as we go through the day. Sharp temperature gradient. We're going to break that down in detail coming up and also talk about when is our next opportunity of rain and storms beginning to show up on the weather charts. Again, details on that obviously coming up as well. But this would be our Wednesday. And again, here in the Metroplex, and this is specifically for the Metroplex today, I think we're going to climb to right around 70. Again, it's cloudy, it's cool, it's damp out there right now. But again, we should see improving conditions again as this boundary, I do believe, retreats and gets nearer just north of the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex. So this is really what it's all about. Our entire weather story summed up. It is that red line. It's really a red and blue line. It's currently a stalled out boundary, but it's going to begin to lift back to the north as a warm front as we go through the day. And again, similar to yesterday when it was moving in as a cold front, depending on where it kind of stalls out as we go through the afternoon. Like I mentioned, south, quite a bit milder. To the north, again, quite a bit cooler. In fact, we're already seeing that so far this morning. Right as we look around the region, south of the boundary, 60s, 70s, mild. North of the boundary, 40s, 30s up in Oklahoma, cool. So again, as this kind of fluxes as we go through the day, that's going to be your temperature gradient right there. I'll show you that on the forecast map coming up. Otherwise, the overall pattern really is not changing as we go forward in time, at least through the early part of the weekend. We've been talking about this all work week long. It's a zonal jet stream pattern moving from west to east. Anytime you're in a zonal pattern, it keeps the cold air bottled up well to the north, doesn't allow for any real Arctic air intrusions. You can get cold fronts, yes, similar to what we're seeing out there now, but it's not necessarily a big blast of cold air. And again, you can see even as we go forward in time, even into the early part of next week, take a look at this here. Again, you can see in this same general pattern, again, there's all the Arctic air up across parts of Canada, up across parts of the northern tier, but notice it really does not make a big move down into the southern part of the United States. Now, the one thing I will be tracking for at least the early part of next week, it's going to be this dip, very similar to our last weather maker coming out of the desert southwest, slow mover approaching the southern plains of North Texas. Again, early next week should be a rain maker for us. I think the better opportunity of rain maybe just east of North Texas, maybe east of the Interstate 35 corridor. So we're essentially dry through the first part of the weekend, more than likely dry all the way through the weekend. But again, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday of next week, looking a little unsettled. And again, you can see at least opportunities of rain beginning to present themselves in the southern plains. So let's go back up in time. Again, as we talk about today, Wednesday, cloudy through at least the morning into the first part of the afternoon. Again, underneath some of the cloud cover, could we have maybe a sprinkle, a passing shower, some drizzle? Not impossible. We'll try and break up some of the cloud cover later in the day. Could be generally cloudy again out the door tomorrow morning, and then we also begin to break that up. But I can tell you, really beginning tomorrow, the temperature should begin to soar. There's some indications there could be another boundary in the area trying to move back through as we go through Friday. We'll track that carefully, but again, the general trend, if you will, right? The general trend with the temperatures, at least into the weekend, it's going to be an upward trend. Now, as we look further out in time over the next 14 days from the Climate Prediction Center, this time of year, I like to show this fairly often. The Climate Prediction Center thinking in the long range, temperatures may trend at or maybe just below normal. But again, you can see wide-ranging temperatures today. Again, 60s up along the Red River Valley. Elsewhere, again, south of the boundary, you can see 70s showing up. This would be your Wednesday evening here in the Metroplex. Temperatures through the 60s, definitely doable. No real complications there. And another cool night on the way, not overly chilly. Maybe some chillier temperatures off to the northwest, but doable. And then for tomorrow, Thursday, here come the temperatures roaring back. You can see that a lot of locations pushing into the 80s. So again, it's a warming trend into the weekend. There's that opportunity of, again, some rain, maybe even some thunder as we get into the early part of next week. That period looking a little unsettled, then possibly towards the end of next week looking unsettled as well. We're tracking all of this with more coming up.